Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So happy to have you all here today. I'm Inara. You probably know me from the lives already now. I'm the online coordinator here at Bamboo U. And today I'm joined by a very special guest. We have Callista. Callista is one of the architects that work with us here at the Bamboo Pure Construction Company. And today we're really going to look at what it really is like to work as a bamboo architect, as a young designer in the field, in the industry. So, yeah, thank you so much for being here, Callista.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Oh, we have a couple people already saying hello. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Dewa. All right. So, joining from, things like that. So just go ahead and put that in there. We love to see where everyone is coming from around the world. I know a couple of Callista's friends are probably watching, so you can say hi to Callista as well. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Yeah, so we have a couple people here already, so that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive in. So first things first, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Callista Prezi, but people do call me Kali here.
Yeah.
I'm an architect at PT Bamboo Pure, which is a construction company that works really close with Ibuku and alongside with Bamboo U2. And yeah.
Cool. Great. Yeah. So, how did you get interested in bamboo architecture? Because I mean, you studied architecture at some point, right? And like a couple years ago. And then, what was your first experience with bamboo as well?
Yeah. I mean, as a local, like growing up, I've been exposed like bamboo is something that you can find anywhere, basically, especially in Indonesia. You can find it like in our food.
Yeah.
Everything basically, like craft, furniture, traditional buildings, even like like music tools, and then like sometimes during ceremony, especially in Bali, we use a lot of bamboo there. But I mean, there's like, it's not all of them, but a lot of people in like Indonesia still thinks like bamboo is like the concept of bamboo as a building material. It's not common before. I mean, it is common, but as a cheap and like unreliable and temporary material.
Yeah.
But then that because of that, it's been really kind of hard. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's interesting that actually in Indonesia it's not easy to search for like study about bamboo. Especially, I mean, during my study back in school, it's not common like you have a own subject like about bamboo architecture.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the first time I encountered bamboo is actually not like a bamboo architecture subject. Like I took this course for like a long span structure.
Oh.
By material. Then you found concrete, and then you found bamboo, and then there I find the arc actually, because it's long span.
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah.
You find the arc, and of course I know Ibuku.
Yeah.
And then that basically led me to Bamboo U, right? And then yeah, so I finally starting to learn bamboo here. And then once you are inside, you cannot go out.
That's true. Yeah. Once you come to Bamboo U, or once you follow us or something, yeah, you're here forever.
Start loving it.
Yeah. Once you start loving bamboo, it's I know, I agree. As an architect as well, yeah, definitely. Like for sure, bamboo is really incredible. And I think something that really stood out was that like there's so much bamboo around us. For example, here in Indonesia, but people don't really see it as something that you can always maybe build with long term. Because I guess traditionally it was used untreated, right?
Yeah.
Before, and so that's, I guess, where the misconception came that sometimes bamboo structures are not long-term structures, but they can be, right?
Yeah.
So
this is why we have all this exactly here.
Exactly. Yeah, we're in a bamboo meeting room right now. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
And so you actually joined Bamboo U as a student visitor in 2022, right? So what were your 3 biggest takeaways from attending the courses, both that we have online, but also in person?
Yeah. So yes, I did Bamboo U before as a student visitor. I mean, it's really an eye-opening experience. Like, I've been like before I was like only a student back in like Jakarta or Bandung, and then suddenly I've been exposed with all of this information and experience, and I really took like away a lot, like much, like more than you can expect. Like I expect this, and then I like I get, oh my god, it's really an amazing experience for me. But if I can, I need to summarize it to three things that like probably the first one is actually learning bamboo. Because again, I mentioned before that it's so hard to actually get that information. I mean, the information is kind of shattered everywhere, so and not a lot of people actually know about this bamboo architecture. And then like being at Bamboo U is actually the best decision I ever made.
Oh wow.
Really, like I didn't know anything about bamboo. I was really like the opportunity they gave me, like Orin, Maria, and Cecile. Of course, Cecile, like they took me in, and then I started to learn bamboo, and then I basically learned everything from zero to like 101, and still learning until now.
Of course, yeah, we're always like, learning.
It's the first step that I really am grateful for. So actually, yeah, learning about bamboo, that's the first one. And then probably second is how I'm also grateful that I am in this community of people that love bamboo. That have like that spirit. And like if it's not because of Bamboo U, I wouldn't met like Cecile, Letty, Leanne, and then now you, Louis, and everyone else from around the world. Like people from like all around the world came here to learn about bamboo, which is like really you didn't just learn about bamboo itself, but you learn a lot from the other two. Like the community is amazing. Like like true. Online, both online and in person, so it's amazing. And then probably the third one is gonna be like my kind of like personal growth, because again I really learned a lot, and I improved a lot. Like there's a funny story. So at like in the beginning, I remember Cecile telling me that during my first month, I never really talked.
Oh yeah.
So I was just sitting on my corner because I mean I'm not that. I mean I know English, but I'm not like well spoken enough to
That's not true. You're here doing this interview. I think everyone here can understand you.
But so, I mean, there's time when I didn't know what to do. I don't know anything about bamboo. But then like the environment itself is really healthy. Like they gave me like chance to do things, and then of course I made like a lot of mistakes.
Of course, we all do.
Oh my god, a lot of mistakes. But then they keep pushing me forward. Like okay, Kali, try it again. It's fine. You can make mistake and then learn from that. And then this really it's I became myself right now. It's Bamboo, you take a peek.
We have a couple of like comments in the chat, for example. So Riza says, yes, as an Indonesian, I feel it too. That's why I really want to know about bamboo as a construction material. We have many wild bamboos, but fewer people know how to make it like more expensive. Less people know how to make it more expensive. Okay. Armanadi's asking, hi, how do you make a joint for a small model? Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, we didn't went really like details on like joinery on the models, but actually it depends. But actually even for this model, we really made like this one is for kind of like flat pack things, and then we actually
we'll talk about it soon.
But we can take like this, but we actually for like more details thing, we do a lot of sketches, like for communication, all those things, but also like some mock up and model, like kind of like real scale but in segmented things.
For sure.
Actually, but bamboo like physical model is really a great tool to actually know if this building will work or not.
And so We're also getting questions about like foundations, things like that. So today we're going to really look at what it's like to work in the industry as well, and we'll try to answer those questions too. But for more information, you can definitely check out our Bamboo U blog. I'll actually put that in the chat for you guys as well. So Bamboo U blog. I'm just going to pull that up so that it's there and you guys can access that after when you watch the recording, or like you can just open it in a new tab. We have a lot of information about the foundations, things like that as well. So we also are actually, you guys might be one of the first few to know about this, but we're actually going to be having an online course soon that walks through the principles of bamboo design. So yeah, that's going to go into model making and essentially how we go about designing over here in Bali. And models, of course, are a big part of that. So that's going to come out soon. But more on that later. So
join the course then.
Yeah, for sure. Join the course. That's a big one. So you were trained as a traditional architect, right? And you're currently working as one of the architects at Bamboo Pure. So what are some of the skills that you learned maybe at university, or maybe you didn't learn them at university, you learned them outside somewhere, whatever? And which of those skills do you think were the most kind of helpful in building this career path that you're on?
I mean, the first, actually, like in context of skills, I learned two of the most, I feel like the most important thing actually here at Bamboo U.
Okay.
Like, I actually then know that for sure there's like, for me, there's two skills that you need to learn kind of and practice more. First of course, like as an architect, then you need to do digital stuff, like digital drawings, all the documentation, then digital model, and then but also the second thing is like not less important, is actually a hard skill to do like physical model, right? And like actually first learn about like Rhino and Grasshopper, which I now use most of the time. I mean,
every day.
Every day. Every day.
Every time I go to Callista's desk, she has Rhino open and she's working on a digital model.
I mean, because I mean during the process, like design process, it's more into like developing the model first, both like digital and manually, like in the physical model. And then finally when we achieve like the okay kind of model, then we move forward to like drawings. But again, there's like, for example, there's like 4 stages, right? So here in like Bamboo Pure, we have like concept stage, and then schematic, and then design development and work construction stage, which every stage is different. Like during the first 3, I use like modeling like application a lot, which is like Rhino and Grasshopper. But we do also use like application like ArchiCAD, Brevit,
so that you can work with the other people, I guess, right, in the project team, so you can manage the project, I guess, and develop it all together, everybody at the same time.
But those two skills is like important. Like you need to balance it out.
It's true. Like I think now with how like there's a lot of interest in digital design as well, which is of course very important and super helpful in the process. It's very fast, it's easy, but then sometimes I think we do forget about at the end of the day we have to work with the material, and it doesn't always behave the way we want it to.
Exactly. So you can make everything on your digital model, but it didn't work like that for Bamboo.
It's not going to be the same. I guess
you go to the model and then you find a lot of things like, okay, this it doesn't make sense, so we need to change that, even more during on-site.
So I guess things like certain curves and stuff that you might want to make, right? How do you go about that? Like, for example, you make like this really crazy curve, for example, in your model, in your digital model, and then how do you kind of do you ask? So does the model maker try and
we work closely with our Bamboo artisan. So during the model, like the digital model process, it's a he. So he also worked with the physical model, and then we actually discuss a lot of things there, you know. Then there's like a back and forth process, which is kind of challenging, but also like that's the interesting part of like bamboo architecture, because you make it in digital, looks really nice, looks really pretty, but then you realize that bamboo has its own, you know, character, limits, and all of those things. So you need to actually know that boundary first, and then you learn more and more actually, and then that's why it is as important to actually make the physical model, not just the
alongside
digital.
The digital model, because I guess Ewell is the model maker, right?
Yeah.
And he sits right next to you, so I mean, I guess
in
it's
front
always
of me, I was
back
like,
and forth
and
all
like,
the time.
Kali, so can you see this? And I was like,
that's not gonna work.
Okay, let's change it. You know, it's so much easier to change it in the like digital model, but he needs to redo all those things.
Like, oh no,
Kali, we need to change it. Okay, it's okay for me. Are you okay? And he was like,
oh man,
but he's super nice. So
he's
like,
really nice.
Yeah.
So this kind of leads into the next question, but did you face any challenges adapting to designing with bamboo specifically? Because I guess when we're at university, we learn how to design with things like concrete and, you know, steel, things like that. And then it's so, I guess, different from the typical design and build process, right? Like, how, like, what were some of the challenges? Like, I know you mentioned, for example, on-site decision making. For example,
that's probably one of the most challenging things. But actually, I would find that every project is challenging, because again, with bamboo and bamboo here, we keep pushing forward to like more possibilities with bamboo. So every time we have new project, it's always something to, you know, explore with, innovate with, things like that. So there always be a like a backward process again, and then on site you'll find a lot of things too, right? So, you know, like problem solving is like a daily things, you know. We always do that every time, which is challenging but also really exciting for me, you know. And it's the things that one of the beauty of like bamboo architecture, you know.
So like, what are some of the challenges that come up, like for example on site, right? Like working with the material, what is something that, for example, might happen in a project?
Again, for example, you mentioned like the curve looks okay in the model, in the digital model, then on site, it doesn't make sense. And like, you know, the span, things like that. Because again, like we do a lot of like, you know, R&D too and things like that to improve and again push like forward, you know. Because again, one of our like what we do here is we also not just stop here, but we innovate always, you know. That's also why Bamboo U is here, no?
We all do a lot of, as the sister companies, all of us do a little bit of different experimentation. So I think that I really enjoy that part as well. Honestly.
So I mean, it happens a lot on site, right? So like you get that model, you discussed this before, and then on site, like like the workers said, the carpenter said, oh, one thing that you need to listen is the carpenters.
Yes, for sure. I think
especially for like building organic things that we usually do here. Right. They really give you like the input that you need to know, you know. Because they're the one who work with the material. And
they're the ones
they know
making
better.
it.
They're basically an architect.
They don't have the exact same training as we do, but they're the ones that actually go and make these spaces. And they're incredible.
I learn more from them, you know.
For sure. Because they work with the material every day, so they know, is this, like, you can, I guess, I remember I showed one of the carpenters a model that we had or something, and they said, this curve is not going to work. It's not going to work. Sorry. You can try XYZ instead, but no, you're right. They really have a lot of, you know.
That's you know, we're lucky to have them.
Yes, for sure. I guess here in Bali, there's like certain villages, like for example, Balaga.
Balaga, like the bamboo village.
Where a lot of our carpenters are from. Like they have a lot of like traditional knowledge, and you know, they have that passing down the knowledge through the generations as well. So I think that's really lovely. All right. Okay, so we have a couple questions here. So Akash is asking, how do you make the bamboo structure, model, curving, and bending? So I guess you mean like the model making sticks?
Yeah.
There's a couple different ways, I guess, that we do it.
We use template.
Yeah, we use a template, and we might use thin splits of bamboo as opposed to the sticks. If we need to bend the sticks, there's a couple ways we can do that as well. Sometimes you just gently bend them slightly against
you can
a
also
template.
boil it. There's a lot of ways.
You can boil them, or you just sometimes you soak them in just like a bucket of water, and so they become a bit bendy, and then you do it.
Yeah, use a heat gun.
Yeah, you can use a heat gun, things like that. You just have to be really careful with the sticks in particular, because those are more prone to cracking.
Yeah.
And you also have to understand that just because you can soak your bamboo, for example, your bamboo model making sticks, you won't be able to do that actually.
Oh yes.
On site,
on
right?
Site.
So you'll have to find how that translates. Whereas, for example, if it's splits of bamboo, which are basically the thin kind of strips with a little bit of skin on them, and they're kind of more flat, you might be able to see them a little bit as these curving, main curving structural elements in this model. That one you can kind of translate directly, because we use splits kind of glued on top of each other, and that translates to a split beam in construction. But kind of there are different ways to do it in the model, and then different ways that you'd go about it in construction as well. And then Amarnath is asking, how long is the life expectancy for bamboo construction? That's a good question. It depends.
Depends on also
lots of factors, actually.
First, if the design is good,
yes,
then the lifespan is also
And by lifespan, kind of like what Callista said, if your design is good, that's a big one. And you can actually check out our live from a couple weeks ago, where we mentioned a teddy bear and bamboo buildings.
The hat.
Yeah, so the teddy bear is basically wearing like a hat and a jacket and stuff. And so you'll see what that means when you watch that video. But if you design your building well, that's one of the factors that really comes into play with life expectancy of your building. And also, if the bamboo is treated properly, that's another thing as well.
Yeah, so because you work with natural material, so you need to pay attention to these things.
Exactly, like I guess otherwise you would have a lot of, for example, sun exposure, for example, to your main structural elements, which you don't want, or also exposure with the rain. That's also a problem. And then if your bamboo is not treated, then you have like bugs coming and eating your structure, which you don't want. You really don't want that. So those are kind of the two main things. And if you do those, if you do them well, then it can be, let's say, more than 30 to 50 years even, depending on how well you've done it. Also, if you have proper maintenance, I guess. Right? Like I think you guys give your clients
also
maintenance schedules, right? As well.
For our buildings.
Yeah. So those are really important things. Exactly. Armana is asking, can we use plastic 3D printing for joints? For the models, I guess you could, but then you also want to think about how that translates to reality. So how would you actually do that in reality? Because right now, like when we model make, we use things like maybe a bit of tape or a bit of glue or things like that. But
this is something that can be explored for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, because again, I mean, we like a couple of years ago when I did my internship here, we actually collab with like Fab Lab, and then we did like joinery with 3D printing, which is super interesting. Actually. So I mean, again, like bamboo is something that has so much potential and possibilities. So I mean, if you want to try it, try it.
Try it and let us know how it goes. Because we'd be really interested in that as well. Even if it's just like on the model scale first, and then like we try and like, build it up. I think that'd be really cool.
You can play with scale. Like you can play with, smaller scale, and then you try to make it like a mock-up, and then
for
test it, and then let us know.
Yes, let us know. That's a big one. Let us know. Okay, so next question.
Yes.
So what does a typical day at work look like for you?
I mean, it depends, but I mean, as an architect here, I I was at the office most of the time because I do a lot of drawings and modeling in the office. But again, as an architect, but in a construction company, we do a lot of like things to support the construction team, which is then we also go to the site quite a lot to help, like maybe inspection, then something to maybe to discuss with us and things like that. So depends on like in the office or going on site and check our projects like that.
And in the office, for example, what would you typically be doing?
Modeling.
Lots and lots of modeling,
drawings, all those things. But yeah, I mean, this meetings.
Meetings take time.
Meetings with clients, meeting with our construction team, meetings with like costing all other departments in our company. But yeah, mostly that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of your job, what do you think are some of the most, I know you touched on this before, but what are some of the most exciting parts of your job and what are the most challenging parts of your job?
Exciting, yeah. Challenging, maybe I mentioned it a lot already.
Yeah.
But for every part, I would say again, for every project is challenging and exciting for me.
Yeah.
But also maybe about here, there's a lot of like collaboration happening, like with all of like amazing people around the world, like the one that want to explore about bamboo, we have like project with Attila One, for example, and things like that, which is like it's like made like an experience for me, to collaborate with all those people and to actually learn more from them and things like that. So that's one of the most exciting things. And yeah, probably because we have like amazing project with like every project is very different to another, because we keep pushing there, so probably that.
So you've mentioned projects, so that's what I'm going to ask about next. So you've worked on a couple different projects already. You've been here for I think almost a year now, right? At Bamboo Pure specifically. So
yeah, it's really today is 1 year.
Oh wow!
Oh, actually, yeah, it's celebrating my first year here.
So we're celebrating through YouTube Live.
I joined Bamboo Pure 1st of March last year.
Wow. Okay.
So exactly a year.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, good to have you. So tell us a bit about some of the projects that, for example, you've been working on, what the is like, things like that. So ones that Bamboo Pure has done, for example, that you've kind of played a part in, or you want to talk about, you think are really interesting.
Yeah. Again, I couldn't mention most of the project because it's like client restricted. But I brought some models
that we can talk about.
Yeah. I mean here. So I'm gonna explain a bit how it usually is, like our flow of like work here.
Yes.
Because I'm an architect, but in a construction company, and we have Ibuku as the design studio. So we actually don't do a lot of like design. We actually more into like redefine things sometimes from Ibuku or other design studios, more into like technical stuff, like how to make this building works, how to achieve like the shape, this building, And so what happened is we don't really do like from concept things. Sometimes we do design development, but most of the time we do for construction drawings, which is just like there's still a development for sure. Like for sometimes the model it just didn't make sense. But sometimes it's not
not
like,
always.
Yeah, especially when there's like clients like, okay, I want to build this stuff, and then sometimes it's not an architect who came to us, like things like that. So like for example, this one is it's a model, like one of the project.
Oops.
It's flat pack.
It's a flat pack project.
So yeah, this is the model that exactly the same as that one actually. But
this was the first one.
This is the first one. This is a project by Ibuku that we already built. We already built. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, Komang supervised this one.
Ah.
Yeah. So so we have this one, and then we actually, when we have project comes in, what we do is usually redefine the building to be, there's aspect like cost effective, for example.
Yeah.
If we found out like the arches is kind of similar to each other,
Okay.
we redefine it. We didn't change the shape at all. We redefine to have like, because the shape is similar to each other, then we can have like 1 or 2 template, and then we copy it, and then we only need to make, for example, 2 templates, 3 templates, and then so that's cost.
Yeah.
Cost then like
costing and simplification for building, I guess, as well, right? Like to make it, instead of having 5 different types of designs.
I'm gonna put this back.
There's a reason why this is coming off, by the way. We'll tell you in a second.
In a second. And so from there we move forward to like, again redefine, probably, for example, the rafter, how we can prefab it here.
Okay.
Because sometimes in our projects we can make things in our production house first, so it's cheaper because it's also controlled by us here. There's a lot of like less aspect that might happen. Be preventive for things.
Yes.
And then it can transfer on site, and then it can be just, you need just to assemble everything, which is so much easier.
Yes,
less time, cost effective, things like that. So that's what we usually do.
And I guess if you prefab it, you can take it to other parts of the world, right?
Yes. So that's one thing that we really the vision is towards that.
Yeah.
We really want to bring bamboo like all around the world, so that people can actually have bamboo houses, for example.
Yes.
So like here we have like these 2 models. It's very different. Like this one is kind of like organic things, and the other one is like more like geometry, shape.
Yeah.
But both is some like what we want to achieve is actually having like flat pack things, the one that you mentioned. That's why this always comes up. Yeah. Like
so this can be
the one that I
taken
mentioned,
apart, essentially, right?
Everything here on this 2 model, it can be flat pack. It can be
taken apart and assembled later somewhere else, right?
Yeah. So it can be achieved for both kind of shape, right? Like more geometric or like the organic one, which is really interesting for me. And we're really on the phase of like developing this, and this one we like the different the area is kind of the same, like around 20 square meters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It basically is space for like anything. You can change it to a room or like
this is one of our meeting rooms that we have here on
you can have bathroom or working room or something else, or yoga.
Yeah, like a little yoga space or something.
Or anything else. But this one bamboo is curvy, but it's relatively straight too.
Yeah, it depends on the species and stuff as well.
So this one we use poles. Like we use a lot of poles, and how we are developing still on how to achieve like the connection to for like when people buy this, it can be anywhere and it's easy, something like that.
I guess because in other parts of the world they don't always have
the carpenters.
Bamboo carpenters. So that's really important actually. Being able to take a template or being able to take a kit and then assemble it somewhere else, right?
Yeah. And then this one we use again the split beams.
Yeah.
And then like the split
I think
rafters.
You'll be able to see them here as well. Like these different arches here are all split beams.
Yeah. So this is like a few of the projects that happening now.
That's cool.
Yeah. Hopefully, this is the future. You know.
And so besides kind of flat pack projects and things like that, what are some of the innovations in bamboo construction that are happening right now that are interesting to you as well?
Probably So I'm doing this project at Green School.
Okay.
So we're doing heat bending.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Heat bending arches, which is similar to, it's like a copy techniques of what we're doing for the dapur barong, right?
At the cocoa farm.
So
Yes.
yeah. So heat bending is something so interesting for me too, because you actually work with bamboo without losing its strength, because you bend it without breaking it, without
Yeah. And I guess a lot of the traditional Indonesian techniques are where you cut notches.
Yeah.
It's called rup-rup, right?
Yeah, it's called rup-rup here.
And so then you bend that, but then it loses its structural integrity. So
then you need to bundle it up.
Yeah.
Which is then you make it a bit bulky and things like that. So it's really interesting, that techniques. Yeah, probably that one. It's really interesting for me, and we are actually on the progress of finishing it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And what species are you guys like typically using for the heat bending? Over here, at least.
This one we use the siamensis.
Okay, yeah.
Xerostatis siamensis.
Xerostatis siamensis, also known as bambu Jakarta here in Indonesia.
Yeah, because it's small, it's relatively straight, so it's easy to bend.
But I actually have a sample of this.
Oh,
1 second.
Here?
Yep.
Wow. Really? I don't know she prepared this.
I just had,
it's just there?
Yeah, it was just there.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's relatively straight. Again, small, and then it's easier to bend rather than other one. I mean,
bigger species.
Yeah.
Asper
again,
is difficult to
every
bend.
techniques, it also depends on the type of the bamboo that we're using. And for example, the one that you make the rup-rup things is for petung.
So that's this kind of bamboo, this big chunky bamboo that we have behind us.
Yeah. So again, it depends, But this is really interesting, guys. So whenever you go to Bali, maybe check that out.
Yeah, if you can pass by the cocoa farm and stuff.
Yeah, we have that amazing dapur barong.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was part of that
project. When you were doing that. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and I guess the thing with heat bending is, in general, you want a small species with a relatively thick wall. For dapur barong at the cocoa farm, we used Thyrsostochys siamensis, but we also had Dendrocalamus strictus available, and so that was also used because it's small, similar size to this, in diameter, and I guess even length as well. They're relatively similar. And thick walls, and not so thick that they're solid, like certain parts. As you get downwards towards the base of siamensis, then you have a bit more thickness and it's more full in the wall. But
but it's different.
It's very
similar, but it's different.
It's similar, but it works similarly.
Like
I guess in that method.
Like the siamensis, up into 5 meters, you can have like a diameter from 5 cm to 3 cm.
Yeah.
But then for strictus, it is smaller.
Yeah.
So it depends again on what you need,
Yeah, and what you have available.
What you have available is one thing.
Yes, for sure.
Source is better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna look at bamboo kind of in like a big scale, right? So do you think bamboo could replace conventional building materials on a large scale?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends. Like large, what kind of large scale? But I mean, bamboo has its own, uniqueness and strength rather than other material for sure. That's what we learn here and keep pushing forward. And I mean, this too is one of the example of what I thought of like large scale. You can maybe in the future you can ship this to somewhere else. Which they don't have bamboo, for example, and then they can have a bamboo house.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So that's what I thought of, like.
So you can take, I guess, bamboo in different forms to different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, that's one thing too.
Yeah. And I think that makes sense. And I guess bamboo also can't be used for every single thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're not going to be able to use it directly to make the foundations under the ground, for example, because bamboo when it comes into contact with moisture, it starts to rot because it's a natural material.
That's why you need to actually know what the material is, what is bamboo, how to work with that.
Yeah.
So to be wise.
Yeah, because every material at the end of the day has its strengths and limitations.
Yeah.
But bamboo has a lot of strengths that and a lot of potential, I guess, that's not tapped into.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
And then also, if somebody wants to build a bamboo house, what do you think they should consider first?
I would say the one we mentioned just now. If it's the first thing that I feel like one of the most important thing is if the bamboo can be found
in your area.
In your area. So if it's locally sourced there, so if it's available, that's one thing. Second thing, probably join a bamboo course. This so really is. So you know about it. So you know the 101 everything. Join the online first and then meet us in person here.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, when you have that solid knowledge of like bamboo, then you can build your own bamboo house.
Yeah. And so going back to the locally sourced part, like why do you think that's really important in particular?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons probably will be cost. It will cost more if you source bamboo, except if you really want to have and we can then ship this.
Yes, we definitely can.
And other thing, it's one of the reasons where we're using bamboo is like sustainable way, and then it's not that sustainable
to ship all the time. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
True. All right. Yeah. So we have a couple questions here, and then we'll move into the last question that I have. So Riza is asking, that's so beautiful. Do you have an online course to learn how to design this building? So not exactly for these specific buildings, but in the online courses, what we do offer, particularly for the ones that are focused on design, is that you will learn how to make models. And with these skills and with the skills that you learn within that course, you'll be able to create and design your own buildings, whether you are an architect or designer or not.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a lot of the people that take our courses don't have it, because I guess as architects, people that are not trained in the profession bring a different insight and a different perspective.
Yes.
So we're always very used to seeing things a certain way, but then when you join the course, whether it's online or in person, and you might not have this background, that's totally fine. You bring a different viewpoint to it.
Yeah, it's always it's always amazing because then the one that joined, like I've met with a lot of people that actually didn't do anything about architecture, interior, or anything with craft with bamboo. Sometimes they're a musician, and things like that.
Or pilots and stuff. We've had pilots. We've had I don't know.
So why not? Why not? It's really beautiful to learn these things.
Yeah, great. And then so you might not learn these specific buildings, but you'll have the chance to design your own spaces, which is fun. And then Komang is asking, what application is used to what application is used to do the 3D bamboo modeling? Which is the one that you use the most?
I'm gonna say still it's Rhino and Grasshopper.
Yeah,
that skill that as an architect and in a bamboo kind of industry here. It is easier to use parametric things to achieve
you can work with parametric designs where you're changing things by the parameter. So for example, you can, if you have a Grasshopper script, what you can do is you can say, okay, my poles are this long, and by changing the slider, all your poles become that length, for example. So it's fast. And it's easy to work with.
Especially in the design process, when you change things, when you have the Grasshopper script since the beginning, it's so much easier. So much easier. So make your script.
And then finally, Armanadi is asking, nice designs, Callista. Do you have any structural guidance for maximum loads?
Again, it depends.
Yes, for sure.
It really depends on where the building is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because even the Philippines versus here, we're not that far.
Yeah, it's very different, right?
Because you guys did
like when it gets really frustrating, it can be frustrating and challenging.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it is. But then during those hard time, it became so much easier if you really, love the material itself.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And one more thing, as an architect, probably to learn both those two skills, the digital things and also like the hard skills, it's both are as important as, like, you
As
need
you
to
should,
balance
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they complement each other
Yeah.
throughout the design process, so they're important.
Yeah, I would say that.
All right, so thank you so much, Callista, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're so glad that you could be here. If you enjoyed this, please let us know. Send us a comment, give us a like. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel because we will have Callista hopefully on for more lives. But yeah, thank you so much.
I'm still here.
Yeah, Callista is still here, so we'll like to bring her
Yeah.
back. And yeah, thank you so much for
Join-
taking time
yeah.
out of your day.
Join the course, join the in person, and meet us here.
Yes.
Meet us here.
And thank you for watching.
Thank